as the alien interest has kind of peaked up, you've got people out here doing all kinds of research, try to figure out, what the heck's going on, what was causing all this stuff. And you've got a guy, a Stanford professor named Gary Nolan, and he came to the conclusion that I did, which was that there must be something wrong with these people's brains. That they're seeing aliens. There's got to be something up with them. So he
Sure.
has gone through this program, and basically will do MRI scans on people who have seen aliens or have witnessed unidentified aerial phenomenon, stuff like that. And he has actually found differences in the MRI scans of people who have seen and witnessed aliens as opposed to people who have not. And apparently it's hereditary too. So he did an interview here where he kind of explains what he saw.
And they showed me MRIs of some of these people, and most of those people had interactions with UFOs. And these were Department of Defense and intelligence people, so supposedly and reasonably credible individuals. So in looking at the MRIs of some of these people, we noticed a area of the brain that seemed to be disturbed, let's say, or different in many of these individuals. So it's an area that I've talked about before between the head of the caudate and the putamen that had increased neural density. And it was larger in all these individuals. And so you just ask the question, okay, what's unique about these individuals? Well, they're all highly functioning, and you have to make snap decisions.
Mayday, mayday.
And so what is that? That's intuition. One way to explain it would be intuition, or just highly intelligent. And then surprisingly, when we looked in the family members, we found that the family members had it. Mm-hmm. Which was fascinating. So that means that structure had a genetic component, whatever it was.
Here's a question. Do you have a genetic and phenotypic predisposition to seeing the UFOs? Or post-contact, do you now have a more neuronally dense caudate nucleus and putamen?
No, I don't think that. I don't think it's changed. They're just able to, as you say, see it. They're able to recognize it for what it might be and not dismiss it.
Maybe it's allowing us to kind of widen the doors of our normal limited scope of perception.
Right.
And you're seeing these UFOs that exist kind of interstitially in reality that other people just can't see.
Our senses are a filter to stop our brains from being overwhelmed with reality. Mm-hmm. And so what we see is a limited aspect of everything around us.
So this is kind of an interesting approach that he's got here. So basically, all these people who have witnessed these phenomena seem, I guess, according to his research, to have this sort of difference in their brain that may allow them to sense all the stuff that goes on. And there was a guy, a UFOologist or whatever they call them, and basically, a crackpot, a kook.
There you go.
His theory was that aliens are all around us, basically, and ghosts and all these things, but they live in a separate dimension or whatever, and that there are certain people that are sort of in tune to it that can actually see, or maybe not seeing, as they can actually like recognize or sense actually what is going on. And this kind of plays into that theory a little bit.
Okay. Well, it's kind of interesting. It sort of reminds me of because he gets to talking about how autistic people have a larger, like that portion of their brain actually tends to be larger than the average population.
More active, and schizophrenics as well.
Yes, right. And so, and obviously, like schizophrenia, you have that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Schizophrenia is not multiple personality, but it's more
hallucinations. Yeah.
Yeah, and like hearing voices in your head.
Right.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So that kind of all lines up. The interesting thing. This kind of reminds me of a movie, which the most recent Predator movie, which was not a very good movie. However, there is this very like a weird, trippy part at the end of it that they explain how the there's a boy in the movie and he's autistic, and essentially the predator species states to him, like tells this kid that like the autistic population is actually like the next evolution or like the master race of humankind. And so it almost kind of sounds a little bit kind of like this. Now obviously the whole predator thing. That's kind of aliens.
Just about as credible as everything else we've been listening to.
Yeah. so it's it's funny how that kind of reminds me of the two, but yeah, it's just kind of interesting. I sort of heard that from Nolan as he was kind of explaining this
Yeah.
whole brain structure thing, which is kind of interesting.
Because there definitely is something in here where he talks about how, now of course correlation does not equal causation, right? And so
Sure.
and like all these people, and he was talking about all these people that he was scanning, most of them are intelligence people, most of them are fighter pilot people, kind of higher
Right.
functioning kind of guys, and they have this, overactive part of their brain. Is it because they came into contact with something? That is it this difference that allowed them to see? Or maybe it's kind of like the schizophrenic thing where this is part of a brain that's overactive and they can't turn it off, and it causes hallucinations. I don't know, but it is kind of fascinating that you could potentially scan and see, say, okay, so this person saw this because X.
So yeah, we could call it, are you supernaturally perceptive?
Yeah, there you go. Do you have ESPN or whatever it's called? The
Yeah.
yeah. That's just something to put in your pipe and smoke. Think about that every once in a while.
Yeah. I bet certain things, if you smoke, you'll probably be a little more in tune with that. Actually, on that idea, Nick, you were saying how was it Demi Lovato
Yeah.
has her own alien show now, and you said that she had some ups and downs with crack specifically. I wonder if that activates that portion of the brain.
Well, let me tell you, she's never going to find aliens because she's quit smoking crack, so that she's never going to find anything.
It's true. I wonder if it's possible you got some connections there.
Yeah, maybe. Well, there's a video out of her singing to aliens to help them get over some trauma that they experienced or something. It is. She's going off the deep end. It's she's a long way from Disney Channel. I don't know where she I don't know where she fell off the wagon, but it's somewhere.
Or
Long way ago.